Okay, next one.
Prakash from IBA, Indus Business Academy. We are producing MBA graduates for their careers, not jobs. That's our USP. My question to Arif. You said careers blogging, you shared with 1,000 people for a month, and you resisted from your boss on sharing this. My question to you is, what was the objective of this blogging, and what is the end result? Anything measurable, anything worthwhile happened after all this?
So, the objective of blogging was to share my thoughts on career growth. So how does one grow in career? How does one look at career growth from a standpoint of building long-term, careers in the company? So, and this was around the time when we were looking at starting career month in the company. So we have a month in mid of July to mid of August where we focus a lot on career discussions. So being the HR leader of the company, the communication team wanted me to talk about how can one build careers in GE, what can one do about it. I was a little uncomfortable because I had never blogged in life. So, it's about that inertia which was making me uncomfortable. I had done lots of sessions and was excited about doing sessions, but never blogged. How do I write, that writer's block of putting your thoughts in such a way that it's meaningful, it's something which makes an impact. When I said that it went on for a month, more than 1,000 people participated, I blogged only once. I just wrote my thought there. What it really did was it triggered a lot of discussion amongst our employees using some of those thoughts and chain of my thinking around careers and building it further in terms of sharing their own experiences. Yes, I connect with this. This is what the Arif said. It made sense. And in my experience, this is what I saw. And one person shared it, another person shared another experience. And for a month, it was a discussion which went on in that board where people kept on sharing their experiences and talked about how can one build careers in GE. Now, if you ask me, is there something which I measured at the end of it in terms of result which we achieved? Not really, but for me, what is exciting is career is an element which doesn't have a formula. You can't say you do A, B, C, D, and this is how you grow in careers. It's something which you learn with time. It's something where one needs to continuously focus and learn from each other from experiences. That happened there. What we achieved at the end of it was a lot of knowledge sharing from many more experienced people with a lot of new people in the organization. We created an environment that, sharing experiences became comfortable for people. And we created a platform which we have multiplied over the years, over the last 6-8 months, in terms of sharing experiences and learnings. And I think what it does is it multiplies knowledge in the organization. So that's what we achieved.
I think if I may just add to what Arif said, I think this blogging and this new way of communicating makes us bite-sized because you're not giving an information overload of 10 reams of email or what have you. It's very simple, concise, and it's participative. Like Arif said, they will give you feedback, and that's virally going to be spread. So these are the new elements which probably previously were not possible without tweeting. Yep.
And adding to what Murthy and Arif mentioned, GE is a company first populated the concept of 2 dimensions of career, visibility and connection. If you want to be successful in your career, be visible and get connected. So this blogging and using this kind of platform drives visibility and connection, which is very important for career development and career management. Yep.
Good evening, Guillaume from C2C. First of all, thank you for your insights. I heard some really interesting things and new ways of doing. I particularly believe in IoT, especially for learning and development. I do think that will drive training effectiveness and learning effectiveness in the long run because I do think that IoT can help for that. My question is more to Ravi. And you're talking about LearnSense and my learning playlist, which I think talk to me a lot. I might not be a millennial officially, but I do behave with technology very much like them. My question to you is, do you think organizations are going to be ready to accept that a good chunk of my learning playlist is going to be about bowling the perfect Yorker or baking that perfect cake, as well as eventually talking about my influencing skills or my negotiation skills? Do you think organizations are going to be ready for that, considering that today organizations still pay for my time, they don't pay for my results, at least most of them. Do you think they're going to be ready to accept that?
I mean, let me answer it in a different way. If you look at an employee life cycle in an organization, there is a huge amount of data that gets generated around him. The mail he writes and the conversation he has and the web pages he searches and all those things. There's an emerging technology called text analytics. That's what Google does to find out, or Amazon does. When you do shopping, it says, you know, people, you bought this time, why don't you buy this time? Or you go to Netflix, it says, you watched this movie last time, why don't you watch this movie? It's sensing your requirement and trying to serve your requirement. And good old learning system, if you go into it, the learning happens when the learner accepts what he wants to learn. That's an andragogy style of learning, not the pedagogy style of learning. So a lot of learning gets wasted in an organization. The money you put in, it's a classic style where 90% of the time my CEO always thinks that L&D is some sort of luxury running around the company. More beneficial for 5-star hotels to have an F&B business going rather than doing some serious type of thing. And which is true, because today, since I learned, the L&D people believe that I know what employee wants, and hence we create content and curate content and deliver it. But flipping it on the other side and trying to say that, you know, an employee today, when in a technology issue, if he faces a challenge, he goes to Google, posts, or he goes to user group, process that technical problem, somebody solves it. So there is actually an active learning community in every technical company that is happening outside the L&D department purview. And 90% of the people learn their job through the community and not through the organization. I don't think organizations do a very good job of training the employee on technology, because like any education system, there's always a gap between what's in the market and what we can provide internally. So I believe that it will evolve. That's why I said it took us a lot of time to think it through, but when we thought it from a technology-enabled point of view, it made a lot of sense to us. When Amazon suggests this book to read, most of the time I buy that book because it has sensed my interest of books that I want to read or the music I want to listen. So I believe it is possible, and there is enough data that if I do that type of an analytics, what we call textual analytics, I can literally draw the profile of an employee. Okay, there's a lot of question that was thrown around on, you know, privacy of an employee. Am I intruding too much into, I'm analyzing his mail, I'm analyzing his browsing habit, and I'm analyzing this. I think the moment I enter the computer, I have mentally accepted of losing my privacy. If you are alluding that you are private in the connected world, you are not private. Everywhere you go in the world, you leave data around you. I mean, unless you do the good old way of handshaking and passing on a bit of piece of paper. So anything you do, you know, you leave hell a lot of data. And especially what Arif talked about is Internet of Things. It is going to create a huge amount of data. Internet of Things is what? You become an IP address. In reality, that's a reality. If you go to Wikipedia and type out what is Internet of Things, every device in the world, be it humans, animals, and machines, will have an IP address and all connected to each other. So I will know everywhere what you do and how you do it. So I think there are a lot of possibilities that gets thrown up. So somewhere we have to throw out the concern of privacies and X and Y and struggle with it. I think the world will struggle with it. Sorry for a long winding answer, because there is no straight answer to that.
Thank you. Yep.
My name is Venkatesh Madhavan. I represent Meditrack, which is an assessment company. This question is for all of you, basically. This is on the enablement of technology during the appraisal process. Now, typically in a software industry or in any industry or a manufacturing industry, there will be disparate teams doing disparate objectives. In such a scenario, there is a possibility that one of the team members in any team might get promoted, and that might leave a bickering or sort of a ill feeling to the people who actually, work a lot, who would have worked along with that particular individual who got promoted. Now, to make things more transparent, is it a good practice to elucidate in a common portal? Because we are here today, we are talking about Talio and all other softwares which actually does the appraisal online. Is it a good practice to have the parameters very clearly published on the aspect of promoting an employee on what grounds he was promoted so that this kind of an ill feeling can be avoided? This is open for all of you.
So,
Let me start by provoking you on the question that you asked. Why do you need performance appraisal at all?
This is basically a recognition for whatever contribution that you make.
So you're telling me without performance appraisal, you will not know how good the person is? Huh?
But what is the scale in which you measure him?
Because everyone is doing it, you're doing it too.
Absolutely.
Sorry for that one.
Yeah, that's okay, sir.
it's very dangerous. Two G guys are sitting next to you and you're asking why you require performance.
Between a rock and a hard place.
No, I think if I heard him right, I think it is not very quite audible, but is it a good practice to post the performance appraisals online? Is that the question?
No, the way I understood is, the internal and external people you consider for recruiting, and can you direct them through a single portal? That's what your question is.
No, actually, my question was whether the performance appraisal process for getting getting an individual promoted within a team can be published online on the parameters on which he is being promoted, which will actually give an element of meritocracy.
I think it depends on, if I may just voice my opinion, I think to build meritocracy, you need to identify what is merit, and so that other people can mimic that. That the whole intention about performance appraisal and saying this is an acceptable level of performance or this is an acceptable behavior, and so that others can watch and learn. So there are two schools of thought. There are people and the leaders who used to say, hey, all the rewards system should be open, so people should learn from, this is the behavior I would reward, and this is how you need to grow in the company. That's one. And second set of people, who say like, no, this would be very discriminatory, because they're only like what Ravi was mentioning, there are only 5% of the people that go out happy through a performance management system, so 95% of people are left behind. So as long as we do this in an inclusive way, with the objective being very clear, as to how you carry everyone with you, I think, that is the win-win situation one has to find.
Yeah.
So I wanted to add a piece here. So in my opinion, I think it's a good practice. You talked about why somebody is being promoted, and can that thought or the whole idea behind that person being promoted, can that be shared widely? And I think it's a good practice to share it widely, because when the person gets promoted, he or she works with the larger ecosystem. He or she gets into a higher set of responsibilities. For that person to be successful in that role, the person's identification in that role has to be accepted by the system. And if you have the transparency, that acceptance is higher.
Arif.
I just want to add one thing. So traditionally, the thinking was that performance appraisal is a very confidential document. It's between the manager and individual. Nothing should, go out. It has to stay that way. I think the thinking is changing. I'm not saying that we have gone to a stage where everything is public and all of that. The thinking is changing because there is a lot more transparency in the system. The kind of workforce we have is working a lot more in teaming environment. So it's no more just individuals, but largely team setups which are coming into play. We are also working in a lot more situations which are dynamic, much more dynamic than a frequency of once a year appraisal. So I think the thinking is changing towards introducing more transparency, more teaming environment, more frequency, and really seeing how we can make it as objective as possible while introducing all those variables. Have we come to a perfect solution? Not yet. So like in GE, we are exploring changing our entire performance management system and introducing a lot more transparency. Companies like Adobe and Microsoft have done away with the performance appraisal system. So I think as long as we focus on what Sakar said, the objective, what Murthy said, that it's about ensuring that this is meritocracy and we are maintaining that standard, that should be fine. Our movement towards transparency, towards more clarity, more teaming environment has to start. We are no more in an environment where we can work in isolation.
Adding to what Arif mentioned, my experience, which we really doing in my current organization is, People want more information, transparency, otherwise they will come to their own conclusion. That is very dangerous. It's better you provide to them. And rumors will take the lead. So what we have done 2-3 things is on compensation when we rolled out, we are still rolling out the individual letters in next few days. We believe in a philosophy, people want more compensation and more information on compensation. More information on compensation cannot be compensated with more compensation. You keep on giving compensation more, but still people ask you, how did you come to this increase? Am I paid fairly? What is the connection with the performance rating? And all these questions they keep on asking. If you don't provide it, they will come to their own conclusion, and they will come to the conclusion that I'm paid low. And you cannot give another 5% increase after 6 months or 3 months saying that it's a market correction. Again, they will be unhappy, saying that I'm paid low. So better you give the information how they are being paid competitively to market by sharing as much as information except their colleagues' information. So that is what we come to the conclusion, which I have been practicing in the last 8 years. We give as much as information possible in terms of performance, distribution of curve, rating and ranking, how we came to the compensation, merit increases, how we calculated comp ratio, which are the 14 or 15 companies we benchmark. All this information we give to managers and employees. So that requires a maturity, otherwise they will come to their own conclusion, which is very dangerous. Okay, yeah.
Hi, my name is Prabhakar. I wanted to ask you a question. Basically, this is for Srikanth and Arif, since GE and you also work for Britannia. See, this is, I always have a doubt. Whenever I go to a mall, a person who's just done a 10th class or a 12th class, in any of the brand, creates a world-class, shopping experience for us.
I can't hear you. Can you just
okay.
give the mic little far?
No, when you go to the shopping experience, any of the mall, okay, a person who is in the counter sales, maybe a 12th class or a 10th class, creates a kind of a customer satisfaction and a world-class, shopping experience for us. Despite we spending so much in IT and doing so much of branding, say for example, it may be Facebook, LinkedIn, or XYZ, and giving so much of training, so much of vision, workforce, visions, and so on and so forth. Why are we not able to create that kind of, satisfaction to our customers from HR or from line managers or from our senior management? Even today, if you take a survey, most of the customers are unhappy. But if you go to a mall, a person who is a 12th class or a 10th class can create that kind of a value to you.
In terms of line management, as well as in the HR community, the simplicity what we create in terms of business processes and the passion for customers or passion for result, which is lacking in a complex organization. Because of the complexity of the roles what we created, the complexity of the employee experience what we create in an organization is too complex. That's the reason we are not able to drive employee satisfaction or employee engagement in an organization, because we create complex structures, we create complex roles and responsibility, and we are not able to define goals very properly. We are not able to cascade it. We are not able to link rewards and recognition to the goals and performance. So everything is complex in an enterprise. And we make it complex. So-called bright HR people make this HR process very complex. When you go into the shops or the street vendor, like Ramcharan mentioned, everything is simple. So Ramcharan, when he written execution book, the challenge he has given to corporate executives is, what you see in street vendors or small shops is simplicity and velocity in which they do business. Can you replicate in a big corporate? And drive that result is very, very important. So that is how the biggest challenge some of the companies are facing. And my experience working in Toyota and GE, they got it much better than a lot of other companies which are still struggling to drive that simplicity and the purpose of working in an enterprise and driving employee value proposition and employee engagement. I don't know, anybody want to add that? Yeah.
I'll just add 2 things. What we do, you might find me crazy as an HR person, but 2 things I'll tell you. What we do is, performance appraisal is not linked to your salary increases or promotion at all in my organization. Secondly, when you go into a shop, who has the money? You. You decide what you need to do. That's what I do with training in my organization. The employee has the money, and he decides what training he wants.
Just to
Yeah, sure.
add to this, one thing which we have not spoken all along, the competencies and employees and everything else, is the attitude. If I understood the question right, the people with, from different backgrounds and creating a better experience. I think, if you find people, which is more of an art still in HR domain than it is a science, is if you can find people who have the business in their heart, and their heart is in the business, they would kick ass. They would do a stellar job at no matter what job it is. So you need to find that map. Once that map is done, you let them go. That's like the fuel and fire combination.
Yeah. And adding to, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to add one piece here. So, it is also a question of empowerment. If you move that empowerment lower in the organization, the kind of wow factor that they can create with their customers would be much higher. There's no amount of technology which can substitute for empowerment.
That's a great.
You go to these shops, she talked about smaller businesses, they are all empowered to make decisions then and there. In complex organizations, we always look up. We look for diktat to come down to us. We are not empowered to take decisions.
And creating a purpose. I was, Sri Ravi Shankar's speech I was listening, and he showed a video how people work in ashram 14 hours, 15 hours, and there is no incentive program, there is no performance appraisal. How do you create a purpose? When I do people management training, first slide I'll show is, teaching is a noble profession. And I have two sisters, they love it, they work for a low salary, and they don't work anymore in salary, and they have purpose to achieve. But management, can you create a noble profession and drive same passion and same purpose in organizations? That's where a lot of organizations struggle, getting that purpose and that simplicity and that nobleness in that profession. So if you can get that, things will be much easier. Yep. Any other questions? I think we have.
A last question.
The last question, yeah.
Okay. My name is Shiva. I work for IBM, lead workforce management there. I've seen all the panelists talked a lot about technology enablement in HR. But no one talked about how the technology enablement in HR would lead to organization success, revenue increase, customer satisfaction. Okay. For example, I would want to highlight one thing. In IBM, implementing on-demand workforce management is really helped in terms of utilization, better planning, better forecasting, all that. We are able to manage things better. I want to ask this question to all the panelists. If you could throw some light on this, that how HR enablement in technology would help organization growth, especially increasing the revenue, customer satisfaction.
Yeah, maybe I'll kickstart then maybe. In my current role as a global head of workforce planning and resource management, that's one thing we do, and we use technology as a baseline to do that. You are right, the demand management, understanding the demand signals and forecasting the demands for operational, that is 3 to 6 months, and strategic, that means 1 to 2 years. How do you see the demand coming? We require a lot of technology, a lot of modeling. Data modeling is very, very important in terms of using skill taxonomy and where these resources need to come in global environment and all these things. Then as you rightly said, once you forecast the demand operationally and strategically, the next biggest thing is, how do you fulfill this demand? Do you go to a college graduate hiring or lateral hiring or internally? And for that, without technology, we cannot do it. And we need to understand, using dollar earned, dollar paid kind of matrices and everything, how do you optimally fill the resources? And which is the country which we can get the resources at a lower cost and higher speed, and where the customer wants the resources to be. So a lot of analytics is required in resource fulfillment. The last one is, as you rightly said, utilization. Once you onboard the people, how well these resources are utilized in terms of time, in terms of skill, in terms of space, and in terms of discretionary efforts, employee engagement. So demand planning, fulfillment, and utilization, without technology, we cannot. And all the three pieces, as you rightly said, drives revenue, operating income, and net promoter score or customer satisfaction. So technology plays a very important role, and that's the core of what you call human capital intervention in a service industry. Without that, we cannot survive. Anybody want to add?
So just one thing, Srikanth, I think you have covered it. The only thing which I would add is It's about productivity, it's about efficiency, and it's about timeliness of what you're doing. So as long as you're providing resources, reskilling them, upskilling them, getting that at the right time, you will control efficiency, productivity, and timely availability of resources, and which will hit not only the top line, actually the bottom line as well.
Bottom line more so.
Yeah, to summarize, it's all about right skill at the right place, at the right time, at the right cost. To come to that conclusion, without technology, we cannot do that. Okay, thank you very much, and the panel has been wonderful, and you also has been wonderful. Thank you very much.
Our heartfelt thanks to Shrikant and all the panelists for bringing together and crystallizing all your experiences into a most fruitful discussion, and I'm sure all our delegates would have taken back lots of learning. I now invite Avinash Bichali, Region Head South for Shine.com, to felicitate our panelists.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Hanging around or going back? We'll have a few minutes then.
You can.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ravi. It was a pleasure too.
I now invite Pratik Mehta, Managing Director, Unishare Group, to deliver the closing note. An engineer by education, Pratik stepped into the business in 2007. Pratik's strengths include design, feasibility, and marketing. He has been spearheading the rebranding of the organization and its growth in the last 5 years. Mr. Pratik Mehta.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Pratik Mehta. I'm the Managing Director of Unishare Group. In fact, since I'm one of the sponsors, I get the privilege to, present my company. I'm not talking anything about HR because I'm still a young and, growing company and a lot to learn, especially from the elite panel seated right here. I was a part of the Chennai presentation as well, and I'm, with this kind of a conference and the right, the people, we are able to present ourselves and market ourselves. Unishare basically is a real estate development company, and we have been in this business since 1987, but Unishare as a brand has just emerged in the late 2000s, and as Unishare, the name stands for unique communities, uni and shire, unique communities. So we are currently developing almost close to 16 projects, totaling about 5 million square feet in Bangalore. Reason for us to be participating in such an event is to showcase the differences that we offer. Yes, it can add to also the HR practices because that's part and parcel. And in our organization, everybody is involved from the process from day one. So it's an integral part. And a few of the points that we have been always associated with is most of our projects are designed by good, reputed international architects and designers. We have great value for investment for every home that you would purchase. Variety of options that we offer to choose out of from most of our projects. And all our projects are located good growth corridors of Bangalore. Most importantly, this event was for me to take an opportunity to showcase one of our projects. It's probably going to be a great game changer in Bangalore realty scape, and it's one of its kind. We've always seen developments across, maybe we've spoken about Dubai or New York or Sydney, but what about developments in Bangalore? And we said, yes, Bangalore deserves a development, a residential space, and something that is iconic and Bangalore can be recognized with. So we have a project called Experience, and there's a short film of just 2 minutes which would talk about experience. It's one of its kind, and it's definitely going to be something that will create that iconic marvel in Bangalore. So I would like to present Experience, the project. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the close of the 18th HT Shine HR Conclave, the Bengaluru chapter, it is my pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks to all who have helped make this event such a success. We thank all our speakers for sharing their views on today's topic and our audience for participating so wholeheartedly. Shine.com would continue to support the HR fraternity through such forums and through our product portfolio. We hope to meet you soon to explore opportunities and showcase how Shine.com can help with your recruitment needs. We also thank our sponsors, Premium Property Developer, Unishare Group, Relocation Partner, Agarwal Packers and Movers, Real Estate Partner, Assets Infra Homes LLP, Talent Resource Partner, Randstad, Outdoor Media Partner, Cashier Drive, Corporate Holiday Partner, Sterling Holiday Resorts India Limited. Event partners, Maxworth Realty, C2C Consulting Private Limited, Discovery Village, Avagama, Ramachandra College of Engineering, and Global Next University.